excuse me, the sweet little tune called Gallagher's Frolics that I just learned. And it's the tune of the week for the Portland Trail Jams group. And I just wanted to chat for a second about how I learned that tune by ear and just give a little bit of advice. And if you've watched some of my other videos, I talk a lot about singing, and I just find that singing is probably the most helpful tool when you're learning tunes by ear. So you can get right into mapping the tune in your head before you worry too much about what's going on with your hands. And so in some of my previous videos, I do break down the tunes phrase by phrase, and each tune is going to have usually, a 8-bar phrase, and then another 8-bar phrase, and then a B part that's another 8-bar and an 8-bar phrase. So the tunes are really kind of reliable in that way. You can map them out by bars of 8 and learn them that way. But eventually you really want to be learning tunes all the way through. You don't want them to be broken up into chunks like that. Of course, learning them in chunks at first is like, that's the only way you can learn them, is in pieces, and then you put them together. But ideally, eventually, you want to be learning tunes all at once, and that gives them a much more unified feel. And it also takes less time, which is awesome. So the way that I learn tunes, now that I'm able to process that much information at once, you'll kind of know where you're at as a musician. If you're ready to learn a whole tune at once, that's fantastic. If you still need it to be broken down into parts, that's great as well. You need to know where you're at and how much you can take in at once. But eventually you'll be able to take in a whole tune at once. And the way to get there is singing. So what I did to learn this tune, I learned it today in like an hour. I did recognize it. I knew it a little bit before. So first I listen to the tune and I find a recording that I like, usually a couple. I like to listen to at least 2 or 3 recordings. So my process basically has 3 steps. First, listen to it until I can sing it all the way through with the recording. Okay, that's step 1. So listening and singing, step 1. Step 2, playing with the recording, and until I can play all the way through, mostly. Okay, and then it gets to a certain point where usually the recording is too fast for me at that point. So I stop the recording and then I play it through on my own. And at that point, I have the tune mapped in my head. So if I just slow it down, I can play all the way through the tune. Okay, so the 3 steps again: listen and sing, listen and play, and then just play. Okay. And that really works for me every single time. If I spend enough time listening to the recording that it's in my head, I'll be able to play along with that same recording. Sometimes I do need to slow it down, like on YouTube, you can slow it down. And then finally I can play it on my own, and then I play it until it's comfortable. Sometimes do slow it down, and just sometimes I miss notes and I'll go back to, playing with the recording. But those steps are really reliable. They work really well for me, and maybe they'll work for you. So I'll play that same tune again to close the video. I'll just play it a little slower, okay? I did learn this mainly from the Martin Hayes recording. So 1, 2, 1, 2. One more.